Hi there. Thanks for joining me as I show you how we make our steamed Asian dumplings. I love dumplings, and steaming them, remember, is a fat-free step, and they're much healthier than frying them or simmering them in some kind of sauce. These actually are so good and so delicate, and you'll see my daughter Lily and I making these dumplings. Here are the ingredients we'll need. Don't be intimidated by the long list. Most of the stuff is things you have in your pantry or in your refrigerator. If you'd like to refer back to this list, you can later, or you can visit my blog for a printable version of the recipe to take to the grocery store. People are pretty intimidated by making dumplings because of the dough and the filling. Don't be. There are several steps to this, but none of them are hard. We're going to take it one step at a time, I promise you. We're going to start by making the dough. You can use wonton wrappers if you're really afraid to make the dough or whatever, but everybody I talked to said that the homemade dough tastes so much better. So we thought, what the heck? What's the worst that can happen? And they turned out fabulous. In a stainless steel bowl, carefully measure out 4 cups of flour like Lily's doing here. Add them to the stainless steel bowl, and next add in a half teaspoon of salt. To the flour and salt, add 1 3/4 cup of boiling water. Obviously this is a grown-up activity. And then mix the dough until it's cooler and you can handle it until it's well mixed. Your initial dough ball will probably be pretty rough and grainy. This just tells you that it's time to get kneading. We're going to knead, push, fold, turn 90 degrees, knead, push, fold, again and again. The dough does require lots of kneading, probably about 10 minutes, but this is a great time to let little people help you in the kitchen. They love to get their hands in all this flour, and really, they can't mess it up. Our final dough ball is much smoother, silkier, and more elastic now. So to the dough ball, we're going to cover it back in the bowl, put a damp cloth over it, and let it rest for at least an hour. Now we're going to move on to the cabbage. I'm using Napa cabbage here. Chop the cabbage fairly small and sprinkle it with about a tablespoon of salt. This is going to draw out a lot of the water from the cabbage. Let that sit for 30 or 40 minutes. Then place your salted cabbage in a clean dish towel and start squeezing out the water, much like you do when you're making spinach. You can see here all the water that's coming out. Really give it a good squeeze. Afterwards, you're going to have a little tight ball of cabbage, but that's okay. We want to remove all that wetness. Then let this sit. Now we're ready to make our filling. For the filling, I'm going to use ground pork. So to a non-stick skillet, add your pork. You don't even need to add oil. Start chopping your fresh ginger. I love ginger. It's very healthy. It's a good digestive aid. Just love how it smells. So chop your fresh ginger. We're going to add about 2 tablespoons plus 1 teaspoon of fresh minced ginger to the browning pork. Next, we're going to grate and peel a large carrot. Add the grated carrot to the pork mixture. Next, add the wilted, squeezed Napa cabbage. To this, add your chopped green onions, 2 tablespoons of chopped dried apricots, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, and let this brown. That's going to be our filling. While the pork is cooking, I'm going to make the sauce. Just combine all of your sauce ingredients and get ready to serve them in a small bowl. Our dipping sauce will consist of soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, sesame oil, green onions, and brown sugar. Now it's time for the fun stuff, getting ready to make the dumplings, to assemble them. Working on a floured surface with floured hands, we're going to cut the dough chunk into several large chunks of manageable sizes. We're going to start rolling out the dough to form long noodles. We want them about 1 inch in diameter once we cut them. So first we have your long noodle, and then I'm trying to cut them evenly. Here's my measuring stick. I'm going to cut each one into 1/2 inch pieces. Okay, so I have them kind of subdivided here so I can see what I'm doing. Here are my 1/2 inch pieces, and then turn them up so the cut side is up. Smash them down a little bit with your hand and roll them out thinly. We want our dumplings to end up about 3 or 4 inches in diameter. To your wrapper, add a small mound, 1 or 2 teaspoons of filling to the middle of the wrapper. Be very careful to not touch the edges with the filling, because then you won't get a good seal. So I think it's easiest to have a little cup or a little bowl of water and just seal the edges by, wetting the edges with water. Starting on one end, after you've folded the dough over to make a half moon shape, you're going to start on one end, folding and pinching the wrapper tightly together. If the edges are wet, this helps the pinches and the folds stick together better as well. So we did use quite a bit of water here. We wanted everything to be kind of glued together. These are really fun, and it doesn't matter if some of the crimps and folds are different. My son experimented with several different shapes, and it really doesn't matter. So once you have them all together, you can cook them now, or you can put them in the fridge to cook them later, or you can put them out on a single layer in a sheet pan, let them get frozen, and then put them in a big zip top bag if you want to cook them at a different date. Make sure that they're not sticky anymore when you put them in the bag, that they're all individually frozen, or else it'll all be clumped together. When you're ready to cook the dumplings, add a small amount of water to the bottom of a wok, about 1 inch. Set your bamboo steamer down in the water. The water level should be almost but not quite touching the bottom of the steamer. So once your water is going, get your steamer ready. I'm going to line my steamer first with Napa cabbage. This will keep my dumplings from sticking to the steamer. Don't worry, the steam will go up right through the cabbage. So after lining the steamer, place the dumplings on the cabbage and get your next layer started. Once the water is simmering up to a slight boil, place the steamer in the water, put both trays and the lid, and steam the dumplings for about 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes, you'll have these beautiful, tender dumplings that you're ready to serve with this great sauce you made. These are so delicious, light and flavorful and tender, and they're not greasy, and we used healthy ingredients. We know what's in there, we know how much is in there, and it's going to be a healthy dish that you can share with your family. I have a little one who's really practicing using her chopsticks, but she always has her plan B, which is her hand, ready. We love these dumplings, and I hope you will too. Thanks for watching. Please come back again for more recipes. Have a good day.